Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another random recap. Week 7 has officially wrapped up, and we got a lot to talk about. It doesn't take rocket science to understand how these type of videos work. I'm going to go through each game, I'm going to give each team their own individual grade, just based on my own opinion. And with all that being said, I do have a quick disclaimer. I am not a professional. By all means, I am the furthest thing away from being a professional. This is all strictly my opinion, and if I give a team a grade that you don't agree with, please let me know down below in the comments what you would have said instead. And all I do ask is if you are new here, please subscribe. It does help the channel out and helps my name get out there more. And with all that being said, let's get into grading your team's Week 7 performance. Alright, to kick off Week 7, we had the Unk Bowl. Man, this game went absolutely crazy for no reason. But also with a crazy game, you had some crazy ass concerns for this team. Because if I'm any team in the league and I hear your sorry ass defense let Flacco, yes, Joe Flacco, air this bitch out for 342 yards, I'm not scared of you. I really ain't. Especially when you call yourselves contenders, because Thursday night, all I saw were a bunch of pretenders. Steelers went from this defense will cause your team problems to, this defense is a damn problem. 33 points. 33 to the Bengals. This is like, what, the second or third game they've given up 30 this year? I mean, you couldn't stop Flacco, let alone put pressure on the guy, but you could not stop Chase Brown, which, fun fact, was his best performance of the year so far. Not to also mention, you sure as fuck couldn't keep up with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, who every second were getting big play after big play, including the 28-yarder to T for the first down, with a minute and 30 left to go to only kneel it out for the game-winning kick. So while the Steelers flopped defensively, offensively, they were all there. I mean, Rodgers in the run game kept them going in this shootout. Jaylen Warren, 127 rushing yards. Rodgers, 249, 4 touchdowns, almost broke a hip in the process thanks to your offensive tackle. Freiermuth, 111 yards. Metcalf, 50. I mean, everybody was just going off. And while it seemed enough to keep things in reach, it would be the 2 picks and a couple of stops by the Bengals and a very poor defensive showing that would lead to their loss overall. I mean, to me, it was a damn good game. Very good game. I mean, probably one of the best of the year, which is crazy to say because there's been plenty that could be titled for game of the year. I mean, that's one that's going to be a classic. The Unk Bowl, the icy hot, the fight scene from up. I mean, it did not disappoint. For the Steelers, all I can say is you got a lot to work on. Losing to the Bengals is one thing, but losing to them in this close of a fashion, letting them whoop your ass this bad, should be a wake-up call. So Steelers defense, wake the fuck up! Giving Pittsburgh a C. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. Something about guys named Joe and the Bengals, I don't know, they just go together so damn well. Anyways, here we had a battle of the elders, where Joe Flacco said, I will not lose to this motherfucker for the 4th time in my career, before dropping an insane stat line of 342 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, bound Chase 16 different times for 161 yards and a touchdown, while hitting Higgins in the process for 6 receptions for 96 yards, also with the touchdown. Not to mention, Fant also had 44 and the 3rd touchdown of the day. While Flacco was going insane, you had Chase Brown also contributing to this offensive masterpiece, running for 108 yards on 11 carries. I mean, for a matchup I was not expecting. You bet I was going crazy watching this shoot. I mean, day by day. That Flacco trade just looks better by the second. Almost like they should have got an actual veteran the moment Burrow went down instead of bum-ass Browning. That guy sucks. But with Flacco, the offense looks alive. Even the O-line was on point, which I'm sure Burrow had to be punching the air seeing. Now, turning to the defense. They were far from perfect. I mean, I'm just going to put it as it is. They were far from perfect and practically let the Steelers win this one until Flacco drove them into field goal range for the dub. So while the defense did let Rodgers and the Steelers have their moments, like scoring 14 in the 4th, they were also able to get his ass on several big key stops, including 2 picks by Turner and Battle. So again, plenty of issues still here, but they got the plays that mattered, and that's all they needed, paired with the offense going batshit crazy. So overall, really good performance and a strong one at it too. I'm not gonna say they're now contenders or anything, you know, I don't want to feed delusion in anybody's mind, but if they continue to play the way they did Thursday night, I mean, who knows how far they can really go, keeping it completely honest. Because if this year's taught me anything, it's that football is very, very unpredictable. And anything's possible, so I'm not going to rule out anything as far as them winning the North or getting a winning record before Burrow's back. It's unlikely, but it's not impossible. But Thursday night was a very impressive performance, and I hope we see more just like it. I'm going to give the Bengals a B. Next up, we have the game in London I woke up way too early for. Did the Jaguars peek at the Chiefs and say fuck everything else? Because whoever this team was we saw in London, you could leave them there. The performance here was incredibly pathetic. I mean, Travis Hunter had a pop-off game and Lawrence nearly threw for 300. So there's that, I guess, but the run game was a fucking joke. Receivers couldn't catch a ball to save their lives. O-line must have got stuck on the goddamn plane with how fucking easy the Rams were getting to Lawrence. I mean, 7 sacks. 7! That is back-to-back weeks where they can't seem to do what they're paid millions of dollars to do. And that's block. I don't pay you jerk-offs millions to stand around like large-ass bowling pins. I pay you to protect our overpaid quarterback. Not to sell Duval. Next time you're O-line shopping, just grab the 5 fattest people you can find. Because, I mean, shit, at least buy Lawrence more time. Then you give the poor bastard already. Anyway, so with the offense completely shitting the bed, the defense saw that and said, want to see me do it again? Before imploding on itself, letting the Rams score 14 in the first, 7 in the second, somehow held them scoreless in the third, but then let up another 14 in the fourth. The hardest part about this game was trying to figure out who sucked harder, because the offense sucked, but the defense swallowed. I mean, they couldn't buy a score to make it closer. The defense couldn't stop the Rams in the red zone, letting them go a perfect 4-4. So I'll just leave it at they were ass. It's wild how they go from 4-1 with promises of possibly being sleepers to they ain't shit within a span of 2 weeks. Giving the Jaguars a D-. Next up, we have the Rams. The Rams came to London and delivered nothing but belt to ass, from the 7 sacks on Goldilocks to the 5 passing touchdowns by Stafford. Offense didn't need to do much once they realized that Jags weren't gonna do shit either by the second quarter. Stafford passed for nearly 200, not your typical Stafford game. Run game was interesting to say the least, with Blake Corum getting plenty more carries than usual. Receiving room was nothing too solid, but damn was it active, with 10 different players getting a piece in his beatdown, with Stafford's best weapon of the day being Devontae Adams, who had 3 receiving touchdowns on his 5 receptions for 35 yards. Now, turning to the defense that was responsible for this game's mostly shutout, 7 sacks, held the Jaguars for 0-2 in the red zone, held ETN under 50 rushing yards on 8 carries, made Lawrence almost throw his arm out for 50 attempts with barely 23 completions. I mean, not a damn thing got done in Jacksonville. It was a boring game. I can't lie. Rams brought the energy. Jacksonville didn't. I knew this defense was good, but I didn't think this defense was going to fuck them up that bad. It clearly did, though. But for the Rams, it's a really strong win. I mean, as they move to 5-2, they keep themselves in the 3-way tie that is first place for the NFC West. What the hell has this year been so far? Anyways, I'm gonna give the Rams an A. Next up, we have Philadelphia. Well, what are the critics gonna say now? By all means, I am not an Eagles fan, but I do give credit where it's deserved. The people who are saying Hurts is dog shit, he's Justin Fields with elite weapons, or this guy can't pass a ball. How was this fucking performance for you? Nearly perfect, 19 for 23, 326 passing yards, 3 touchdowns with multiple clutch plays, including an absolute dot to AJ Brown in the fourth when the score was 21-19 to put it out of reach and win the game. Oh, and remember this, Vikings came into this game with the number 2 pass defense. Hurts essentially took a shit all over the secondary, and yet haters will still say, oh, he ain't it, or he's getting carried. A performance like this is why the man won a damn Super Bowl. Absolutely terrific and a much needed performance, especially since the run game was once again dull as ever, with Saquon not even getting 50 on 18 carries. But I mean, how can you blame the guys? Like, every time they handed the ball, bam, there's already a defender in the backfield ready to tackle him. Anyways, receiving room went crazy, and all it took was 2 players, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Really good to see whatever drama or bullshit they had ongoing in the last couple of weeks finally get settled, and now they can play like how they should have been looking since the start. Now, turning to the defense, they rose to the moment when it mattered the most. They forced 2 interceptions off Carson Wentz, including a 41-yard return for a touchdown by Hunt that would put Philly in the lead 14-3. Not to also mention Minnesota having 6 trips to the end zone, but only converting once for 6. I mean, a performance like this, paired with how explosive the offense was in this matchup, is why they're walking away from this tight-ass game with the win. I'm sure after losing the last two, especially the embarrassment that was the Giants game, you wanted a strong bounce back victory here, and that's exactly what you got. I'm gonna give the Eagles an A-. And now we have the Vikings. They had a whole week to prepare for this matchup. A whole week! And yet they look like they were shocked by what they ran into. Offensively, Carson Wentz was able to put up numbers, as usual, 313 yards through the air, with Jordan Addison being his best weapon of the day, torching the Eagles secondary for 128 yards on 9 catches, constantly giving Minnesota life on third down. But now, as good as Wentz and this offense looked at times, the red zone was a damn nightmare. 6 times. 6. And you know how many they got? They got one. One touchdown out of the lousy-ass 6 trips. It's a goddamn knee slapper with how bad of a stat that sounds to read out loud. I mean, 2 would have made this disappointing stat much better, but 1 is just laughable and poor execution altogether. So in between failing to finish drives, settling for field goals, penalties, missed assignments, a horrible pick 6 in the first half, all of this killed any momentum this offense had. Now, turning to the defense, the Vikings had no answers today for Jalen Hurts, who cut this secondary into pieces, completing 19 of 23 passes for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns, posting a perfect passer rating. Which again, it's funny knowing that the Vikings pass defense was known for giving up only 157 yards through the air on average, and was ranked second best for that reason. In this game, however, Hurts said, "Fuck your rankings, we do not care." I mean, this game, we saw none of it. The secondary was giving up multiple explosive plays, including a 79-yard bomb that completely flipped this game on its ass. Overall, like I said, it'd be the lack of execution by the offense, including Wentz's 2 fuck-ups, back-to-back in the second, and the secondary not tightening up on this offense that would be the reason they take the L. So with this game, I was shown they have what it takes to keep up with some of the NFL's best teams, but they don't have what it takes to finish the job. Just like what we saw against Pittsburgh. So I can't say how confident I am in this team anymore, because it's not like they're playing the Browns every other week. They genuinely have a tough-ass schedule. So unless they're making some big changes in the next upcoming weeks, I can't say I see them doing much, really. I'm going to give Minnesota a C+. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel saw this matchup and told the locker room, go take a shit all over this team. And well, that's exactly what they did. May played nearly perfect. Diggs finished with 69 yards. Of course he did. Booty had 55. Stevenson had 88 rushing yards on 18 carries for a touchdown. Really great to see him bouncing back. Offense did offensive things and whooped this sorry-ass defense from one end of the field to the other for 4 quarters straight. And then speaking of defense, you turn to the Patriots defense where the 7-mile spanking machine would continue. 5 sacks, fumble return for 6, interception, you name it, they probably did it this week. I mean, it was nothing but pure domination on both sides of the field. I told you last week, this team is not fucking around anymore. Sure, it took them a few quarterbacks to finally find their guy, but once they found him, I mean, they look really damn good. I'm gonna give New England an A. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans. The Titans started off very strong, scoring 10 points in the first. And that's it. That was it. That is the game right there. They scored 10 points in the first, and they only added 3 after. Someone forgot, I guess, to tell this dog shit organization of a team, they have 4 quarters to score more points and not fucking 2. This team blows. I mean, there is no other way to put it. And anytime they are playing, I know they're gonna lose. It's just, by how much. This week, they will lose by 18. I'm going to give the Titans a D-. They were horrible, but it's entertaining horrible. I mean, it could be worse. You could look like the Jets. And I'll give the defense some credit. They were able to sack May 4 times, so there is that, I suppose. But outside of that, you didn't miss much if you failed to catch this game. D-. Next up, we have the New York Jets. Oh, man, I was waiting for this moment. Oh, fuck me. I should give this team a fucking F for making me having to watch them week by week so I can do this stupid grading. But Jesus Christ, Field is so fucking horrible. I say thank God he got benched, but it's not like Tyrod's much of an upgrade himself. You could take out the man, but you cannot kill the idea. Here comes Tyrod Taylor with a 2-pick performance for absolutely nothing. At this point, just like Brady Cook started, it surely cannot get any worse. Run game was ass. Receiving room was decent, but it felt like for half the game, not a damn guy could get open. So as usual, this offense was painfully disappointing to watch. And it leads me back to my point of they're not winning shit this season. Now, turning to defense, once again, they played really well. But also, once again, it's going to be overlooked because how crippled this offense is the way nothing gets moving. Such a damn shame, and I feel bad for most of the defensive players. I mean, to play your ass off in a game that could have been yours had your offense be anybody else's but the Jets. Being sent to the Jets has got to be the equivalent of being like traded to the Wizards. You land here, you know for a fact it's going to suck ass. I don't even know what to say anymore when it comes to this team, so I just close my eyes, give them a low grading, and just move on to the next team. I'm giving the Jets a D+. Next up, we have the Panthers. Keeping it a stack, good win for the Panthers, but a win against the Jets is like the freest thing in the world. I've seen free samples put up more of a scare than facing the Jets offense. You could put a Pac-12 defense against them and the Jets still want to do a damn thing as long as you score one touchdown. It's pretty much wrapped. Rice had 138 yards with one touchdown. Rico Dotto outdid Hubbard on his return game, which says a lot for Carolina's run game. Xavier Liggett had 92 for 9 catches. I mean, nothing crazy was done here on offense as far as scoring wise, but against the Jets, it's all you really need to do. The defense is good, so you'll take what you can get. But since their offense isn't capable of anything really, this was more than enough. It just sucks Bryce is out though, so it should be interesting to see how Dalton does next week. But one thing is for sure, and that this run game they got going on has potential to be very dangerous. Turning to their defense, they got 3 sacks on Fields, 3 sacks on Taylor. We're also picking him off twice in the process. Breece Hall was held to only 38 yards and the receiving room was struggling. So to put it lightly, the defense came in and feasted all afternoon long on his offense. Overall, it might not have been the prettiest win, but I mean 3 in a row is an impressive feat for a team that sure doesn't get a lot of them, so I doubt they care how it's done. I'm going to give Carolina a B-. Alright, now we have the Miami Dolphins. My eyes can't believe it. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I don't believe how absolutely shitty of a performance this was. Defense did great, but we're focusing strictly on the offense here. And I can confidently say the Tua turn the ball over era is officially over. The guy got benched. Well, at least for the game, but I hope it's for the entire season. He is just beyond a struggle to watch. I mean, otherwise, I would bench him. He just fucking sucks. I mean, well, what do you got to lose in seeing if you were just anything special? Either he's going to be the next Drew Brees or he's going to be your next Skylar Thompson. Either way, it cannot get any worse. Now it's for Mr. Mike McDaniels. Kiss your job goodbye, you coked up cornball. It's wraps. I mean, at the rate this team's going, you might even get lucky and get Chris Greer fired altogether. So for Dolphins fans, it's the tiniest win in this dark cloud of depression that you call a franchise. But overall, outside the run game by Achane and the effort by this defense, this game was ass. F. Now we have the Cleveland Browns. Tua has got to be the best quarterback Cleveland's had in a minute. I mean, 3 picks. How generous of the guy. He saw the players were having a hard time catching balls from Dylan Gabriel and said catch these instead. This game was strictly won by the hands of the defense and the feet of Quinshon Judkins. Defense picked off Tua 3 different times, one to being a pick 6. Held the Dolphins to 1-13 on 3rd down conversions. Sacked Tua twice. Sacked Ewers for another 2. Held their best receiver today under 50 yards and pretty much shut them out if you take away the 2 field goals. Turning to the offense, Judkins put on his backpack and carried the hell out of this team. With not 1 rushing touchdown, not 2, but 3 rushing touchdowns with 84 yards on 25 attempts. Absolutely a big workload right there. Gabriel was alright, but at times it felt like he was just there, I don't know when I watch him. Maybe I just need to see more out of the guy, but if I had to be right now, give you a straight up analysis so far, I like him as the Browns quarterback too, but I don't think in any way possible he's the one they've been looking for. But yeah, outside of Judkins, no one really did anything game changing. Hell, special teams had more of an impact than the pass game did. Take away Judkins from this team, it was a very mediocre day. I'm gonna give Cleveland an A. This is like when the Panthers dominated the Falcons a few weeks back. I would have given them the A+, had the pass game also go crazy, but this was a game mainly won off defense and the run. Solid A performance. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints. What is it with bad teams and managing to just fuck themselves over in any way possible, especially with their own mistakes? You know damn well you have no room for errors I mean, you already suck, so adding mistakes on top of it just guarantees your loss. And in this game, they shot themselves in the foot multiple times with 4 crucial turnovers, all done by Rattler. 1 by a fumble and the other 3 through the air, which would turn into 10 for Chicago. But besides the mistakes and turnovers, Rattler played alright. 233, 2 touchdowns, with Olave having nearly 100 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns, and Juwan Johnson right behind him at 79. The run game was beyond depressing, provided by Alvin Kamara, who's probably playing like shit on purpose just to avoid being traded, since according to him, he'd retire if it came to that. So good for you, I guess. Just rot away in New Orleans, you know? Definitely not a lot better than winning a ring. Anyways, turning to the defense, they were ass. Yeah, they got a pick on Caleb and held him to under 200 yards, but what they didn't do was hold back this run game. Not only did they get fucked up by DeAndre Swift's 124 yards, but Kyle Monagai, the 7th rounder, who ran for 81 and a touchdown. I mean, you take away Chicago's run game, Saints got this one in the bag. But since you can do that, you get your ass beat. Overall, between Rattler's mistakes and every running back in Chicago having their way with New Orleans like it was a cheap whore, they were pretty mediocre. I'm gonna give the Saints a D. Now we have Chicago. Talk about the run game, cause god damn. I mean, I might have said Ben Johnson wasn't gonna do a damn thing with DeAndre Swift, but from the looks of it, I might be eating my words here, because this game right here was won mainly off of the run game's back, paired with the crazy performance the defense had. DeAndre Swift, 19 carries, 124 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Kyle Monagai, 81 on 13 carries and a touchdown. I mean, I know what Swift is capable of, but Monagai looks very promising. I still can't believe he fell to the 7th round. I mean, such a hidden gem right there, but what he provides and what Swift provides, they look to be quite the duo. I mean, Johnson made Gibbs and Montgomery a lethal combo, so I don't see why he can't do it with these two. But for this game, we got a taste of it, and it's a large game changer to their already loaded offense. Turning to the defense, just like the run game, they were having their way with New Orleans. 3 interceptions, 4 sacks, recovered a fumble, made sure the run game was basically non-existent, and stayed firm throughout most of the game, besides 2 drives that gave the Saints 14 points. Overall, Caleb Williams might have not done a damn thing in this matchup besides his 1 pick, and he might not look great at times, but it's good to know if he's sucking, which pause, you can rely on the run to bail you out. Same set with the defense. As long as those two can get going, it's really all Chicago needs to keep winning. Bears get a B. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Do I even have to explain this ass whooping for you? They totaled just 95 yards. Genty had 6 carries. I don't even think I can explain how fucking horrible this team is. Fire Pete Carroll. Fire Chip Kelly, bench Geno, send Crosby to a contender, and just, I don't know, blow up everything. Y'all suck. I mean, it's as simple as that. And for being a rivalry matchup, quote unquote, y'all disappointed. F. Now we have Kansas City. Rashee Rice was like our 6th Infinity Stone. We got it, and now we're back to raising hell and being everybody's worst nightmare. I feel it's not fair to gloat about this win since the Raiders blew absolute dick this game, but I think it will just a bit because man did we look good. Run game on point. Receiving room on point. Rashee Rice on point. Kelsey not fucking us over for like the 5th week in a row. On point. Mahomes goated. Defense locked down. I mean, we straight up bullied this team start to finish in this fucking shutout. I mean, we were not gonna let a damn thing get past us Sunday, especially with this being a quote-unquote rivalry matchup. They pulled up and they got sent home with their tails tucked between their legs. I'm gonna give my Chiefs an A+. Sure, you can call it biased, but I mean, really, how else do you grade a pure shutout done by both the offense and defense in equal fashion? A+. Next up, we have Indianapolis. Okay, I'm throwing in a towel. Colts are legit. There, I said it. I've been biting my tongue on it all year long because as people have been pointing out, they might be the Vikings of last year. But damn it, I'm gonna call my shot and say they're better. I mean, just look at them. I don't know, something about this team. They just look to be a real threat. I mean, it's one thing to squeak by and move to 6-1, but they are flat out steamrolling everybody they run into. On the field and statistically, they look to be the best team around, which is wild to say, but it's true. Offensively and defensively, they are a problem. Jones threw for 207, 2 touchdowns in just the first half, finishing with 288. Jonathan Taylor had 94 for 3 rushing touchdowns on 16 carries, with 38 receiving for 3 receptions. Alec Pierce had 98, Pittman had 58, and Tyler Warren had 69. I mean, they were everywhere the Chargers did not need him to be. Big play after big play, you blink, he's got them down the field in scoring range. You can say what you want, but they look elite. Defense even looked lethal at times, picking off Herbert twice on back-to-back drives, holding Vidal to only 20 rushing yards after an explosive performance last week, with the only somewhat concern being that Herbert was able to pick apart the secondary for a large 420 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. I say somewhat concerned mainly because whenever they would find success in the end zone and start putting points on the board, the Colts offense already had a massive lead anyways. Overall, I'm lost for words. Like, genuinely, I just don't know anymore. What the hell are you? I'm giving the Colts an A. Just what the fuck, dude? I don't get it. Solid A performance. Next up, we have the Chargers. I feel like everybody's reaction to the Colts is just like the teams that are playing them. They are fucking clueless. I mean, this team had no answers for what was in front of them, just like the others. They couldn't stop the Colts, and they certainly couldn't get past the Colts. Hell, the first half alone is shit you don't want to do against a team like this. The score was 23-3, and at this point, Herbert already threw 2 picks. See, the only way you win games like this is if the defense manages to pull off a complete shutout in the second half. Spoiler alert, they ain't fucking do it. The Colts came right back at their attempt of a comeback and threw an extra 15 on top of it. Yeah, they might have not scored in the fourth, but at that point, damage is already done. You're playing catch up and they're playing can we end this game already? It was a disaster. I'm sure had they planned better or maybe just start the game stronger and not throw 2 picks, the outcome might have been different. But it seems for this game, they just got outplayed. That's really it. They were just not the better team today. I'm going to give the Chargers a C. Alright, next up, we had the New York Giants. The Giants looked like they were on their way to a statement victory. That is, until a total fourth quarter collapse that turned a dominant night into a disaster the football world will never forget. Jackson Dart threw for 283 and 4 total touchdowns as New York built on a 26-8 lead heading into the fourth quarter. But of course, costly mistakes including a late interception and 2 missed extra points opened the door completely for Denver's comeback. The defense, which had stifled the Broncos all afternoon long, completely unraveled down the stretch, giving up 33 points in just 10 minutes. What started as one of the Giants' most complete performances of the year so far has ended as one of the ugliest meltdowns in their franchise history. I don't understand. I just don't understand how one does this. I mean, you mean to tell me you sons of bitches couldn't hold on for one more quarter? What a choke job. I'm going to give the Giants a B-. Yeah, they choked, but for 3 quarters of the game, they still looked pretty damn good. B-. Next up, we have the Broncos. The Broncos pulled off one of the wildest comebacks of the season. Actually, just, fuck all that. One of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen entirely. Rallying from a 19-0 deficit to beat the Giants 33-32. I mean, for 3 quarters, Denver's offense was completely non-existent. It was absolute garbage. For a second there, I was about to call it another blowout for the week. Bo Nix struggled to find rhythm. The O-line was shaky. The run game stalled. They were making all the mistakes in the game that did not look in their favor. That is, until the fourth quarter, where everything flipped upside down when Nick's channeling his inner Tom Brady the way he said, screw your lead, and threw for 193 yards, 4 total touchdowns, becoming the first player ever with multiple passing and rushing touchdowns in a single fourth quarter. Cortland Sutherland, Marvin Mims, both made clutch grabs while J.K. Dobbins helped move the chains late. They turned to their defense where an interception and tight end pass rush flipped the momentum completely. Given the efforts by both sides, Indiana will be a 39-yard field goal to seal one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever see in a fat minute. So overall, the offense exploded late, the defense delivered when it mattered, and Denver's shown real grit in one of the most improbable wins of the year. I'm going to give them a B. Alright, next up, we have the Green Bay Packers. The Packers pulled off an interesting win over the Cardinals, to say the least. In a game where I thought it would have been easier, they definitely took their sweet-ass time with Arizona. Same shit with the Bengals last week. They've been making matchups like these much closer than they should be. Anyways, the Packers showed great balance on both sides of the ball. Jordan Love managed the game efficiently, throwing for a key touchdown and protecting the ball, while Josh Jacobs carried the offense with 95 rushing and 2 touchdowns. including the game winner late in the fourth quarter. On receiving, Tucker Kraft delivered in the clutch with a crucial fourth down grab to extend the final drive. Now, turning to the defense, Micah Parsons, baby. I mean, he dominated here with 3 sacks, finally showing us what we've been waiting for. I mean, that's what happens when he's not getting damn double teamed, along with adding constant backfield pressure to Jacoby Brissett, while Edwin Cooper helped stuff the run and deliver a huge 4th and 1 stop to shift in momentum. So despite the early struggles, they were able to finish strong, outscoring Arizona with 14 points in their 3 in the fourth quarter to secure the comeback victory. Packers, all I ask is please stop making games closer than they need to be. I mean, if you want to look serious, you gotta be blowing teams out like these out the water. The shit you were doing to Detroit, we need to see more like it. B+. Next up, we have the Cardinals. The Cardinals showed promise early in this matchup against the Packers, but like the Vikings, who also have a veteran backup, they just cannot finish the job. Jacoby Brissett led a balanced offense, throwing 2 touchdowns to Trey McBride and helping Arizona build a 20-13 lead heading into the fourth quarter. However, the offense choked, failing to convert a single third down and stalling on a crucial 4th and 11 in the final minutes. So because of that, they lost. Defensively, Arizona generated pressure early, but could not contain Jordan Love when it mattered, giving up 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. I mean, special teams also hurt them, allowing a 61-yard field goal before halftime. That shit also didn't help. So as typical, the Cardinals showed they can keep themselves in a fight, but they showed they cannot win said fight. My takeaway from this, Kyler Murray's job is cooked. I mean, the fact that Brissett looks more polished of a quarterback behind this system than your supposed franchise guy, it says a lot. Because I guarantee you, if Kyler was playing here, it would have not been that close. But with Brissett succeeding, it mainly says, Kyler, you suck. I'm calling it now. If Kyler comes back and fails to perform, they're benching him 100%. And the moment they do that, that will be the last we see of him in a Cardinals uniform. I'm going to get the Cardinals a B-. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders. Injuries, man. Injuries. They have hurt this team so damn much. It's not funny. And to add fuel to the flames, that is the hopes and dreams of this team, Daniels is now hurt. Yeah, safe to say the 2025 Commanders don't hold a candle to 2024. I mean, everything they were doing last year is the exact opposite this year. Defense isn't great. The entire Washington offense is in the ER throughout this entire game whenever Daniels was in. Receivers can hold onto a ball even if you sewed it into their hands. Drops were selling drives. Receivers weren't running the right routes. Run game was depressing. They could not get anything going. Even the O-line sucked, which of course led to Daniels' injuries. Not to even mention the defense not being able to contain the Cowboys at all. So until this team is fully healthy, I'm not expecting them to make much of a run this season. Which sucks to say because they were really cool underdogs to watch last year. I'm going to give the Commanders a D-. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys dominated this one. I mean, 44-22, score doesn't lie. It was belt to ass all afternoon long. With Dak Prescott leading this blowout, throwing for 264, 3 touchdowns, connecting with CeeDee Lamb for 110, George Pickens for 82, and Ferguson for 2 touchdowns. So while you had Prescott going crazy through the air, the ground game was just as good, with Javonte Williams rushing for 116 with 1 touchdown. You know, to redeem himself after last week's embarrassment looking like dog shit in front of Rico Dowdle. Defensively, the Cowboys were able to force multiple turnovers, including a pick 6 by Bland after Mariota came in because Mariota said, you know, I still gotta remind everybody who I am. Not to also mention the strip sack they would get that would lead to a touchdown. With Donovan Izaraku, who I'm still saying was a massive sleeper in the draft, adding constant pressure on RG5 and whatever it was Mariota was trying to do. Even the special teams were showing out on this beatdown, with Brandon Aubrey hitting a 61-yarder just to say, oh yeah, I'm Brandon Aubrey, look at this, to put the game at a double-digit lead. Overall, Dallas executed in all phases, delivering a commanding, well-rounded performance. Get it? Commanding, because they played the Commanders. Anyways, games like these are what have the Cowboys looking like contenders. We know the offense is going to deliver on a consistent basis. Dak's playing like an MVP. But the defense is still what concerns me the most. Nonetheless, good win and a much needed performance after choking last week's game to Carolina. I'm going to give the Cowboys an A. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Defense let the Niners run all over them. Actually, wait, let me rephrase that. The Falcons defense let McCaffrey, and McCaffrey alone, destroy any game plans they had coming into this one. So with not being able to stop McCaffrey, they sure as hell couldn't stop drives from being extended either. Each Niners drive was taking like about 5-6 minutes, and just when you think they were about to get a stop, here comes McCaffrey with another big run or big catch to get them a new set. they allowed the Niners to convert for a whopping 60% on third down conversions. So in other words, when you fail to give your offense back the ball, and you yourself can't get off the damn field, you're gonna lose. Turning to the offense, it was solid. It was nothing too crazy, but they did make a few too many mistakes before and after halftime. Like 1, Penix's fumble. Like 2, his intentional grounding, a crucial turnover on downs, and way too many punts. So like the defense, the offense failed to make big plays, or at least get the plays that matter the most. I mean, the way they beat the Bills, you thought they were about to come into San Francisco and do nearly the same thing, but they didn't. I'm going to give Atlanta a C-. Next up, we have the 49ers. So, unless your name was Christian McCaffrey, you didn't do a damn thing today. The fact that he almost had as many rushing yards, keyword, rushing yards, with receiving, he dominated the stat. But for rushing alone, he almost had as many yards as Mac did passing. That right there should tell you he carried this game from the first to the fourth. Very, very dominant showing. A showing that should be worthy of itself, saying, oh, McCaffrey's having an MVP year. If only the award went to anyone else but damn quarterbacks. But it's good to see the Niners realize when the game starts, the main objective should be just give McCaffrey the damn ball. You don't need Mac to throw for 300. You don't need a receiver to catch 120. Just give McCaffrey the thing and watch him cook. So yeah, McCaffrey did everything if I had to sum up that side of the ball. Now, turning to the defense held together by graham crackers and super glue, we actually had an impressive performance for once. A team that destroyed the Bills last week struggled here when it came to running the ball, the way they kept Bijan in check. And when you keep Bijan in check, all you really have to do after that is just pressure Penix and tighten up on the secondary, which is what they did exactly. With Drake London only getting 42 receiving yards on 4 receptions after the last 2 games where he would average around 100 yards with an average of 6 receptions. So with the defense locking down, the secondary blanketing on Penix's weapons, and the offense being taken care of by McCaffrey, it's enough to cruise to 5-2. I'm gonna give the Niners an A-. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was just not their day. I mean, nothing went right in this game. From the start to the finish, Mayfield played poor. I mean, you could tell the guy was trying, but nothing was just going his way. O-line collapsed after the first snap. Absolutely did not help Mayfield at all. Mike Evans, who just came back off an injury, is right back on the IR. I mean, no breaks were given here. The offense couldn't get anything going, and the defense could not stop the pass game by Goff, let alone stopping Gibbs, who is setting records on this defense. I wish there was more to talk about, but I don't think it gets any more obvious than this. They just got out-coached. I don't think the Bucs are frauds by all means, like what the media outlets are trying to tell you by blowing this game out of proportion. To me, it was just a game where injuries finally caught up and they got outplayed. That's it. That is probably the most realistic answer you'll get about this game. But to those who are saying, oh, the Bucs are trash or Mayfield's a fraud, not MVP worthy, you are smoking crack. I'm sure though after the next one, the goalposts will move back anyways where they were before the loss. Good teams, even the elite teams can't win them all. It's a tough loss, but they'll be fine as long as nobody else gets hurt. I'm going to give Tampa Bay a D+. Next up, we had the Detroit Lions. Man, this defense is no fucking joke. I mean, when you put a healthy Lions defense against the Buccaneers offense being held together by string and band-aids, yeah, you're gonna curb stomp them into the ground. It's like the jock beating up a handicapped kid. Yeah, you're gonna win this one. Pass rush was on Mayfield's ass all game long, getting 4 sacks in the process. Secondary made sure his weapons were put on safety lock, not letting a damn thing get through. And surely the front was also not gonna let them get a run game going. See, a performance like this shows me and shows everybody else who's watching, the Lions are still a team I do not want to run into. Yeah, we beat them, doesn't mean I want to see it again. In this game, the Lions defense showed Baker Mayfield no amount of magic or clutch ability could work tonight. Now, turn to the offense. It was a Jahmyr Gibbs special. 200 yards off scrimmage with 2 rushing touchdowns, with St. Brown bouncing back for 86 on 6 receptions, and a touchdown with Goff throwing for 241, going 20 for 29 in the night. Definitely not his best day, but when you got a run game like this, why need to do anything? The defense was already making light work of the Buccaneers at this moment, so once the Lions put the lead up by double digits in the third, you kinda already knew it was over. So overall, it wasn't the shootout everybody was expecting, but but it was a dominant performance that says Detroit is still an absolute juggernaut in the NFC. I'm going to give Detroit an A-. And to close out week 7, we had the Houston Texans. Dude, this offense is so hard to watch. I mean, the defense looked really good. Yeah, they couldn't stop JSN at times, but they would get great stops here and there. Just a shame this offense couldn't complement a thing they were doing. Like, the defense would get a huge stop with a turnover, and you know what the offense does? Take a wild guess. You know what they do? They go 3 and fucking out. 3 and out. That's the best I can give you. I wish I was making this up. The defense gave them plenty of opportunities to flip the momentum here. But no, they couldn't do a damn thing. I mean, until it became too late. There are so many things I want to point out, but I've been repeating the same thing and I sound like a broken record every other week. The O-line is horrible. The run game is horrible. Stroud has less than the blink of an eye to drop back and get a throw up before he's hit by the equivalent of a fucking truck. So even though Seattle made plenty of mistakes, the Texans made a whole lot more. And it's because they got bullied all game long by the defense, they would lose in a game that could have either been theirs or still lost, but much closer had the offense to actually do something. It's sad knowing the kicker puts up more points on average than anybody else on this sorry-ass team. Will Anderson got a touchdown in quicker time than it takes them on average to march down the field and score themselves. The way I look at this year's Texans is like the ugly girl with a really nice body. You like the body being the defense, but you cannot bring yourself to like the face because my God is it hideous. If the defense wasn't as good as it was, this game would have been much worse. I'm going to give the Texans a C-. And now we have the Seahawks. Might have not been the prettiest win, but it's still prettier than anything the Texans tried on offense. Because when I say this defense bullied them all night long, they hit them in ways you could file for harassment. Stroud got sacked 3 times, picked off once, held the offense to 2 third-down conversions on 15 attempts, which is just brutal to read out loud, 10 tackles for loss, and completely eliminated their run game. If you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to describe it to you. The pressure they're putting on Stroud just forced a bunch of incompletions, overthrows. He wasn't hitting receivers, or when he was, the secondary was causing them to drop the ball. So defense did his job. Very good performance there. Now, turning to the offense, once again, they put the balls in the hand of the system. The system being JSN, who had another big performance with 123 yards and 1 touchdown on 8 receptions. The other 2 touchdowns came from Charbonnet on the goal line, which RIP to K9 fantasy owners. So the defense did their job, offense did it too, with my only gripe of the day with the offense being the amount of turnovers they had, including the brain-dead bullet thrown by Kupp straight to the defender. It definitely wasn't their cleanest performance, but like I said, with the mistakes they made, the Texans offense made plenty more. So it worked out in their favor, but it is definitely something you want to work on. So overall, defense did most of the dirty work. Offense had its moments, but thanks to JSN and the run game, it toughened out and got the win. I'm going to give Seattle a B-. And that would do it, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope y'all did enjoy the video. Sorry, it's much shorter than usual. I was in a big time crunch while trying to make this. So, in the process of it, I just tried to make every analysis as short as I could while also giving you good details to support my grading. Once again, I am not a professional, so if you do disagree with me, please let me know down below in the comments what you would have said instead. All I do ask is, once again, subscribe if you did enjoy the video. It really does help my name get out there more, and it does support the channel. But with all that being said, I will see you on the next Random Recap.